We have a license in Mexico. We have 4 offices, one office in Texas and 3 offices in Mexico. And our business is, more than a lawyer. I'm a business promoter. We develop business. We attract, we attempt to attract companies to come to Mexico and invest in Mexico, and sometimes in Texas as well. And we once they're here, and we have assisted more than 400 companies to get started in Mexico. Some of them 100% of the legal needs in Mexico. Others, just a fraction of their work, and and they come to Mexico, particularly to invest in manufacturing sector. And so we're very active with them, and we have reached out to the world. I have spoken about doing business in Mexico and Mexican laws that apply to foreign investment in 26 countries by now. Your country, for those in Sweden, I was 3 years ago in Gothenburg, and in many other places. So it's a real pleasure to be here, sharing this talk, with all of you.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. So why don't you take it away? Can you see the slides, everyone?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
So just let me know how I can help you change the
Okay,
slides.
thank you. We go to the next one. So that's, our name. And, if I'm going too fast, I'm going to try to just speak about, things that are, kind of not in detail. I can elaborate with anyone on any particular topic. I already introduced myself, and we can go to the next one, please. Mexico is one of the most attractive countries when it comes to, to foreign investment. There's more than 5,000 companies, manufacturing companies from anywhere in the world that you can think of. In the past, we will see that we have a relationship, a bilateral relationship with the U.S. This is the most important market in the world by far. So sometimes you get a little bit complacent and say, well, what, reach out to the world if, we have the most important market next door. There's a lot of people in the U.S. that, companies that invest in Mexico. But now we have clients from any place that you can think of. We have clients from India, we have clients from Vietnam, we have clients from Korea, from Spain, from Sweden, from many different countries and so on that have come to Mexico to participate in a number of industries. I will elaborate, what industries are the most attractive in Mexico. And, we reach out to them. We don't wait for them. Sometimes we go in, convince them, we help them. We do a little bit of site selection, for them when the case comes. And then, we explain to them what's available for them in Mexico, what permits or what programs are available for them in order to access the Mexican market and export from here. And the main exporting market is the U.S., of course. That's the main social partner, business partner that Mexico has. I'm explaining there, the IMEX license is very briefly. You get a license like this, you incorporate in Mexico, you have a manufacturing facility in Mexico, you apply in Mexico for an IMEX license that will allow you to bring into Mexico equipment, machinery, raw materials and components duty-free. Okay, you don't pay duties upon importing those things into Mexico. You go into Mexico, you manufacture your product, you export your products, and you don't have to pay those duties. Particularly, this is very true with the countries that we have a treaty with, and I will explain what treaties we have. Mexico is a very open economy. Some people are just familiar with Mexico for the things they have seen in the American films that portray Mexico like this Mexican, countryman in a horse or in a donkey, and Mexico is much more modern than that. That's a stereotype that we want to get rid of. And we go to the next one, please, Charlotte. In Mexico, there's the necessary infrastructure. There's plenty of industrial parks in the country to manufacture world-class industrial parks where all these companies are moving to Mexico, and Mexican entities as well. They establish operations and they have access to all the utilities and the security and the kind of things that you need to manufacture. And of course, we have a lot of qualified labor force. There is countries where they say we have a lot of people, but they are not trained to work in the industry. They still have the experience or the attitude that they might have is like working at home. In Mexico, industry has been there for many, many years, and people are very used to respond. And we have a very competitive legal framework. So, sometimes, there's countries that are not very friendly to foreign investment. There's a lot of obstacles that, you normally, will face and so on. Mexico has accommodated its legislation, even a major labor reform to make the country very attractive, because now we're competing with countries that, we didn't used to compete, like, all those former, sub-Union countries like Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan. We compete, also with Montenegro and Croatia and many other countries. And so Mexico had to adapt to that. In the past, it was say, let's not do much because, we're here next door to the U.S. There's some people that work in Mexico on the Mexican side of the border and live in the U.S. They come across on a daily basis. I can go to my office in Mexico now and be there in 15 minutes. So some people go work in Mexico. They have a large manufacturing facility. They come back and live, in the U.S. with U.S. Living standards. We have dozens of international airports, not only one or two. In my hometown, there's one. Next to where I am, there's five. There's 4 or 5 airports, international airports. Where we are. So it's very well located and it's very well serviced also by airlines and by other transportation companies. We have a very stable economy, a very stable government. We don't have issues like, you never know what is going to happen. There's a dictator here that is causing trouble and things of that nature. Mexico has been a very stable country for many, many, many years. Go ahead, please. Main business partner, of course, needless to say, is the U.S. I have a little map in there showing the U.S. and the Mexico flag. Normally we have Canada as well because Canada is a third partner. We have the USMCA, which it used to be known as NAFTA, is a free trade agreement in between Canada, Mexico, and the United States, and that was renewed last year under Trump. He's gone. Good for someone, and good for some people, bad for some other people, I would say. And so I'm showing there the border. I am. This is the Mexico-U.S. border, and we have more than 3,000 kilometers that we share with the U.S. You can see some of the ports of entry. I'm in this little place to your right in the corner, and that's the Gulf of Mexico there, and it's called Brownsville, Matamoros, that area there. So the traffic, this ports of entry, one of them that's called Laredo, you will see there, that's the busiest land port in the world. I mean, in the world, you will see lines of trucks with merchandise going, for instance, northbound with finished products from Mexico, or southbound with components and materials, and no matter what you want to see, that port by itself carries about 60% of the exports of Mexico into the U.S. The reason being, that's the eastern part of the U.S. where most of the population live. You go in a straight line to the Midwest in the U.S. or to the New England state. Go ahead, please. You can own a company in Mexico with up to 100%. There's very limited, I'm trying to cover the light that is behind me so it doesn't disturb you. So that's the reason why I moved this way. So you can own a company and you can own 100% you can be owned 100% by foreigners. There are some countries where you need participation of the local investors. That's not the case, except in very strategical industries, like weapon product, industry and so on. They limitations as well. But in manufacturing, we have companies, particularly in the electronic, in the automotive, in the aerospace, software, and in other sectors as well, like medical sector, and even food companies come establish operations in Mexico to do process their foods and so on, and export with the highest health quality standards. And then, it may come as a surprise to you, Mexico is the second country with the most free trade agreements in the world. So I was telling you that Mexico is a very open economy, and we have reached out to, not with the current administration. The current administration in Mexico is very, concentrated in Mexico. I don't even know that, well, the president may have a passport. I don't know if he has gone anywhere but the U.S. and the foreign relations secretary or minister. I don't think he's been anywhere except for the U.S. So we don't have we're not talking about politics in here, but we have a situation where we are not reaching out the way we were in the past, and that's the reason why we have all those free trade agreements. And have a little map, Charlotte, that I will follow, showing those are the countries with which we have a treaty with for free trade. The most important, of course, is being the U.S. and Canada and Mexico. That is called the USMCA now in English, TMEC, we call it in Spanish. And that's by far the most important free trade agreement that we have. And that has caused Mexico to be a very competitive country. You come and manufacture in Mexico, so if there's enough content, even if you brought the products from abroad, that can be considered that your product is USMCA originating, and it will get access to all those special or not tariffs as if it was a Mexican product. Next one, please. We went into that USMCA. That was, that was originally executed back in 1994, and there's unbelievable advantages of, coming to Mexico, manufacturing in Mexico, and get the treatment, the preferential treatment I was referring to. Next one, please. That's the border again, and there is a lot of people think there's a big wall in Mexico, in between Mexico and the U.S., and that prevents flow of merchandises and so on. It prevents the flow of immigrants, particularly those that are going across are people from Central America and from other countries. And now I'm not surprised to see people that I've never been here before. So it's not only like Latin people, they come, from some Asian countries or African countries. And you can see the border there. Trump claimed that Mexico was going to pay for the border. Mexico didn't pay for the border. That's for the wall. The wall was built originally by one of the Bush, I think Bush Jr. is the one that built, some of the fence. You can see it here. And that's to prevent illegal people from going across, but not goods, not trucks, not legal people and so on. And go to the next one, please. That's one of the things that has caused Mexico to be very competitive. And I'm not very happy to show this, to be honest with you. These are the salaries. I think this is like 1 year old or 2 years old, but it hasn't changed much. I'm comparing Mexico's minimum wage with other Latin American countries. I'm not, comparing this with Sweden or with Denmark or with the US or Canada or Germany. I'm comparing it with similar countries. Mexico is the second strongest economy in Latin America, but yet, the salaries that are paid in Mexico are ridiculously low. We pay by the day in Mexico, so a Mexican worker by minimum salary will normally make, say $9 a day. Nobody works for that kind of money where I am. Of course, people, will start, working for kind of double that, amount of money. And it's improved, with the current administration, which is socialistic. The salaries or the wages have improved, have gone up, and they continue to go up. So, I'm glad to hear that. Some of my business partners or clients may be disappointed if I say this, but, I'm happy that, people are getting paid more because, it's ridiculously low, the kind of wages that are getting paid now. Can we go to the next one, please? Costa Rica is a little country in Central America, very, very small. You never hear about it other than, it has very nice beaches and so on. And, as I say, the industrial economy in Mexico is very, very strong. And yet we have this kind of salary. So it doesn't make sense, to be honest with you. Particularly for you coming from some of the Northern European countries where, I have been many times, and, it's a very different environment. So Mexico's attractive, yeah, and we're working on increasing them. Mexico used to have 46 Pro Mexico offices in the world, and unfortunately, as I said, the current administration is like more looking in-house, indoors, and not reaching out. So the president, that has no international experience whatsoever, he decided that it was a waste of time, that those people were just traveling and enjoying life in foreign countries. So he decided to close all of them. That was the way to sell the country, that we had. And I worked with them there was one in Stockholm, of course, and I don't know how many in the US, Canada, we even had one in Russia and in Morocco. They all disappear. They're gone. Okay. And now the president expects the embassies to do the sales calls, to convince foreign investors in Mexico. They say that only Mexico had one of these offices or these institutions. And, I checked the other day and we found all those that you can see there. Business France, Business Sweden, Pro Colombia, German Trade, Belgium, Jetro, Cotra. Can we go to the next one? And please. And, ISEX, FinPro, Invest in Norway, Russia has its own, UK, of course. So, and most people in Mexico, they don't know better. They just think that, they were some privileged people that were sent out to the country with very large salaries to enjoy life. And that's not true. So we're finding it very hard now to reach out, because they will be in charge, organizing your trips and your meetings and your conferences and so on. That office from Mexico is gone. So we're going individually now. Go ahead, please. For many years, Mexico has been one of the top 15, economies, and almost always within the 10, most important exporting countries in the world. And companies are coming now. In the past, they were coming like textiles to do manufacturing textiles and so on. Now there's more and more advanced, technologies being introduced, and the Mexican people are being trained to take over. Even now, the managers that used to be foreign managers, they are selecting now, Mexican people, because we have a very wide range of educational institutions in the country to take care of this, and investment is coming from all over the place. There's in recent years very large plans. How much time do we have, Charlotte, left?
Well, you can speak on a little bit more. Let's say 5-10 minminutes is great.
I have like 5 minutes, no more than 5 minutes to go. I'm rushing through this, so
so relax.
Okay. All right. In recent years, there's a lot of car assembly plants that have moved into Mexico. You see some of the brands, particularly in central Mexico. At the beginning, the most interesting part was the northern border, because it's very close to the US. So you will send your products from Chicago. Chicago's far away. I mean, just to get out of Texas, it can take you 15 hours driving. Okay. So I don't know in Europe how many countries you can travel in 15 hours. So, but Chicago is far away. Minnesota is very far away. Indiana is very far away. Houston is about 5 hours from the border. So you have a company in Houston, you decide to come and manufacture in Mexico, it's not a long way. And so therefore the northern Mexican states were the ones that were more privileged in getting all this investment. But now central Mexico is the colonial part of the country that's very beautiful, very similar to Spain, southern Spain if you want. And they get a lot of tourism as well. So they are establishing operations in there, and you'll be surprised to see the amount of companies like Honda, like Audi, like Mazda, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, that just went almost at the same time opening large facilities, employing thousands of people, and bringing the suppliers with them, suppliers base. So we open up an office in there, of course, in central Mexico to service, that particular market. Now the problem is a little bit saturated. There's so many companies. The salaries have gone up because there's a lot of competition. And there's a lot of what we call in Mexico piratism, which is people will take away your trained and qualified employees from you because they need them, for the upcoming operation. Next one, please. I'm talking about the manufacturing sector. Mexico, we have right here, about 40 minutes away from where I am, we have the Gulf of Mexico, and that goes all the way from the Caribbean Ocean to everywhere, almost everywhere in the U.S. And is very attractive. There's a lot of tourism destinations. I would say in Central Mexico because it's colonial. It's those cobblestone roads and no traffic lights and very provincial lifestyles and so on. And then we have also, all the cities, particularly in the Caribbean. And you can see now what you see there in the map. That's Baja. We call it Baja California. Some people, they just refer to it to Baja. The Americans didn't take away that part of California. I'm surprised because, when they took away almost, half of Mexico, they took California to the north, and then from that's the city of Tijuana, and then you go down south, and that's the peninsula of Baja California. That's a beautiful, beautiful destination. There's a lot of different, tourism developments in there, and to the very tip, which is Cabo. And then the Gulf inside is called Golfo de Cortés. I am not a tourist guide here, but I like it there. There's where the whales that come all the way from Alaska and so on, they go and give birth to their, how do you say that? To their children, if you want. So it's a beautiful part. And then we have the Caribbean, on the other side. And Mexico does not have a big chunk of the Caribbean Gulf, but it's very well developed. I think it's the most developed part of the Caribbean. Sometimes you go into beautiful islands, like Jamaica, or you go to St. John and other places, Santa Lucia, that very fancy and exotic and so on, but they don't have the infrastructure. Mexico does have the infrastructure. So there's a lot of foreign companies, particularly in the hotel business, that have moved to Mexico and so on to take advantage of this, all these developments on the Pacific side. We have Acapulco, Huatulco, some other places in the state of Oaxaca, Mazatlan, and the like. Next one, please. I am almost done. Okay, I am done, I think. Those are the offices that we have in Mexico. As I said, we have this main office, but this is not my office. This is my home office here, where I am right now. This is in Brownsville, Texas, and we have offices in across the border. I'm a Mexican notary public. In Mexico, it's more like the European style notary public. In the US, your runner, your secretary, a cook, a chef can be a notary public as well. In Mexico, you have to be a lawyer, you have to be appointed by the governor, and we close on transactions like incorporation of companies, and we close on real estate transactions. We don't have title companies in the US. If you want to buy land in Mexico, you have to go to a notary public that conducts the due diligence process, for the closing, and so you can get a clear title to your property. So in a nutshell, that's what my country is all about. And, we welcome, there's time for questions, and we welcome the opportunity to meet with you, get vaccinated soon, and then, we can get together. And I want to reach out. I love traveling. That's the only thing I miss. And I would like to, I don't know how many countries we have represented here. I heard Myanmar and I heard Sweden. But, I'm looking forward to reaching out and meeting most of you anytime we can. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Ernesto. And let me ask the first question, just to ask you to summarize what services you help with if a company comes and wants to do business in Mexico. So you, of course, do the setup stuff. Just elaborating on what services you can help with.
Help with different registration. We help with the land acquisition, due diligence process to make sure that you buy you buy land and you don't buy trouble. Make sure that there's no disputes about your title. We help with the labor negotiations, union negotiations, contract, drafting, construction agreements for your facilities, immigration permits, the environmental work, the tax work, the customs work, and so on. Any licenses that your particular type of operation may require, we obtain for them. So it's 100% of the services that you require in order to get up and running. And then we provide legal assistance on an ongoing basis on all those, special subjects.
Okay, thank you.